So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. I look like a milk dud today, don't you? But anyway, we are not live. I should say that at the top of the hour, but I'm not sure if Donovan will be back, but I will be back live today at 5 p.m. Central Time, where we understand that the National Association of Black Journalists will be interviewing Kamala Harris. So I want to watch it and bring back what I discovered. So in the meantime, if you guys get a chance to check it out, y'all should do so as well. But the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always try to do better. Today, we're going to talk about the unfortunate situation of Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Love, Brother Love, Combs, and that he was indicted last night, or actually was arrested yesterday and indicted this morning in New York state court on RICO charges. I'm going to break that down for you. So we're going to have this conversation right off the top. But I want to say this before I give it to Donovan. As the great Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has always said, and I've seen this trending a lot, don't laugh, learn. Donovan?
Hey, you guys, welcome. Again, we are not live right now, but please tune in later on today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Demetra K show, as she will be live, and I should be back. I'm going to do my VA thing. We should be back, and she's going to be talking about those topics that come up. But do us a favor. We have a banner at the bottom. If you want to contribute to the show, as a lot of you guys have, we thank you so much. Every little bit helps. It keeps the content creator motivated to keep these great conversations going. And again, it's you guys that make the show what it is, because I could talk to Demetra anytime by picking up the phone and doing that. And the way that you guys can do that is PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, cash, check, money order. We do it all. And again, it does take time and effort to make these great videos. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get that on Google Play and the Apple Store. Great way to keep up with what's going on all around the world with the African diaspora. If you care about it, if you don't care about it, the fact of the matter is we need to be aware of what is happening to our people, our ancestors, our descendants, our cousins, our brothers, our sisters, all over the world, so that when that situation happens here, we're aware ahead of time. And great videos, additional great videos from Demetra K, Phil Scott, Vicky Dillard, and all the rest of the great contributors to the African Diaspora News Channel. Google Play, Apple Store. Check it out.
Thank you so much, Donovan, for that. And I should say I appreciate you too for, continuously bringing up the African Diaspora News Channel app, because it's important that we get on our own platforms instead of being dependent upon everybody else's platform, that we really are not free to say what we want to say all like that. But anyway, as I was saying, Sean P. Diddy Combs, I think he's known as Brother Love now, but I don't know. But most people know him as Puff Daddy, right? Yesterday he was arrested. Sounds like in the cover of night, right? My phone began to go off, and different people was texting me and stuff. I was asleep. I was like, I have to get into that in the morning. Anyway, so he was arrested last night and indicted this morning, and I want to read to you a synopsis basically of what happened. So it says Sean Diddy Combs has been indicted on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and related offenses. Following a federal investigation, the indictment alleges that Combs, starting as early as 2008, was involved in a pattern of coercing and manipulating women into participating in sexual activities, including through drug use, intimidation, and promises of career advancement. He is also accused of organizing freak-offs, quote-unquote, parties, where elaborate sexual performances took place, often involving both women and male sex workers. Those acts were allegedly recorded without the victim's knowledge and used as leverage to ensure their silence. The charges stem from allegations of abuse, kidnapping, forced labor, and obstruction of justice, and details incidents of violence and coercion against women, some of which were captured on video. These serious accusations have led to Combs' arrest, and he faces up to 20 years in prison if he is convicted. Okay, so I just want to break down some things. Some people might want to know what is a RICO. So it's RICO. and it stands for Racketeer Influence and Corruption Organization. It also goes on to say it refers to a set of federal laws under Title 18 of the U.S. Code, specifically designed to combat organized crime. Passed in 1970, the RICO Act allows for the prosecution of individuals involved in an ongoing criminal enterprise, even if they did not personally commit the crimes. So basically, and then it also says it could be brought against, okay, this is important too. RICO charges can be brought against individuals or organizations engaged in a pattern of racketeering and activities, which can include offenses like bribery, fraud, extortion, money laundering, and in many cases, violent crimes such as murder or kidnapping. A key aspect of RICO is that it enables law enforcement to target the leaders of the criminal organization for the crimes committed by their subordinates. It says the law is often used to dismantle crime. Criminal enterprises such as mafia organizations, gangs, and more recently, corporate entities involved in systematic criminal behavior. Okay, now with all of that, I read the 14-page indictment that has been released from the federal court there against that of Diddy, if you will. And there's a lot going on in there. There's a lot, of course, all the things that I just read he's accused of. Now they're calling his Bad Boy production. There's a whole bunch of other things listed as well. All of his names that he goes by and that he's gone by. They're kind of considering that to be a criminal, a crime syndicate, if you will, because all the things that he is accused of doing to people. He did that under the umbrella of Bad Boy and some other things. As also said, they talked about the things that he has, like his music career, his clothing, his alcohol ventures, and just a whole host of other things that he has. Now, at the end of that indictment, yes, it talked about that they are going to be going after his assets, whether it's real estate, securities, money, anything that he has amassed from 2008 until present day. Now, it also mentioned something like bribery, because it said, I think even as of last year or beginning of this year, one of the two, that he was trying to bribe witnesses, trying to pay them off and say, hey, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, don't talk or cooperate with the federal investigation and I'll give you some money or whatever. But I should take this back to November of last year. I remember where I was in a store, I was shopping, and my sister was blowing my phone up. She was ringing my phone and blowing my phone up. I'm like, what? And she says, Cassie Ventura, who was Diddy's longtime girlfriend, she dropped a lawsuit on him, basically alleging all of the things that I had said. And so, of course, that spurred a lot of conversation about whether he did it and this, that, and the other. Now, she was seeking unspecified amounts of money for the damages that he caused her. But it sounds like Diddy was like, nah, I ain't paying and get out of here, scat. Well, not even 24 hours later, he did settle with Cassie for, what he was accused of doing. But unfortunately, from that point, the floodgates were open, and everybody you can think of that he had worked with, worked around him, and anything else you can think of came out as different people filing copious amounts of civil suits. None of these were criminal up until now. They were civil suits talking about kind of the same things, right? It was a man. I forget the brother's name. I think his last name is Jones, but he filed a case saying that he was also treated the way Cassie was treated, and he was suing as well. So the different members, Danity Kane, one of the members, Dawn, she's suing, saying that he's done some pretty, heinous things to her as well. Aubrey of Danity Kane, members of Day 6, I heard that they said they only made about $15 when it was all said and done from their album that did very well. So we could go back to Craig Mack, Black Riot. There's just so many of his artists who have a story to tell about him. And so here we are, and Diddy's looking at doing a lot of time. Now, I think people should also keep in mind, this is just New York, but he's been here around for a while. So other cities and states can bring charges up against that of Diddy, like they did with R. Kelly. So this is unfolding. Also, before I give it to Donovan, the indictment did talk about other people, but didn't say who. It said associates, business associates, and things like that. They were also complicit. And so I watched a short snippet of a press conference with Damon Williams. He is representing Manhattan, U.S. He's in Manhattan, New York. He's actually the one, I guess, is facilitating the charges for now. So he says, yeah, this is ongoing. Because he was asked, are there more names to drop? He says this is an ongoing investigation. Now, I should also say, too, that around the internet, This is why I said don't laugh, learn from that of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is because you see a lot of people talking about that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants in his house. I forget which one, maybe it was LA, I think it was, along with, some guns and things like that. And so I'm like, y'all focusing on the wrong stuff. There are victims who fell prey to Diddy, and that needs to be the most important thing. I think you can really kind of ascertain what everything else is for. It's like, are you slow? You know what the baby oil was for. Anyway, Donovan.
Yeah, it's really easy. You took a lot of my talking points as well, which is great. If you're paying attention, I'm paying attention. Everybody's paying attention out there. But it's easy to make light of these charges. But isn't it funny how we forget about the victims? And this is some serious stuff. These allegations of people here in Hollywood. I live in California, 60, 70 miles outside of Hollywood, and these allegations is nothing new. We've heard about these rituals and these things that people will do for fame and stuff. But these are real, actual victims, women that are being assaulted and sexually gratified to powerful men and women in Hollywood. Some of the biggest donors in the Democratic Party that we know of that have been arrested in past and stuff like that have been people that are caught up in these type of situations. I'm very sure both parties do it. But so let's not forget the victims in this. But you brought up a lot of great points, and I think I caught a few. I want you guys, as I'm speaking on this, I want you guys to think of a situation where a man was murdered in jail under guard and under video surveillance. His name is Jeffrey Epstein, and he had names of people that, if you really look at the case, it's similar to what the Diddler did, and I'm saying Diddler for P. Diddy, what the Diddler did, where he had parties and stuff, and he would record guests coming in there and probably in compromising positions. Prince Philip was one of them. Bill Clinton was caught up in that. All sorts of stuff is going on in the entertainment industry. So this man ended up mysteriously passing away, and the names were redacted and never really released, high profile names that would have been on that. Under this prosecutor, the attorney, federal attorney, so far, as you've already said, Demetra, they are charging him under RICO. RICO is a criminal organization in regards to this. I was watching KTLA here in California as he was reading the indictment or whatever else it was, and he, out of his own mouth, said that the Diddler did not do this by himself. These are horrific crimes, and he did not do this by himself. Demetra, I have a question for you. There is another man sitting in a jail. I believe either it's in New York right now or he's in Chicago. He is functionally illiterate, cannot read. He was charged under the Biden-Harris administration's DOJ under the RICO statute. His name is R. Kelly. Now, I'm not here to say anything. What I'm trying to get you guys to understand is they apply these charges to something. If this man says RICO is an organizational thing, if you like R. Kelly or not, this man is sitting in jail by himself. He could not have done what he is alleged to have done by himself, and he's sitting there by himself. So I want you guys to think about that. I also want you guys to think about this. In a capitalistic system, capitalism in its purest form, it's the strong survive. You're going to do whatever you can to dominate your competition. Demetra, if you had an opportunity to get rid of your competition with no other competition, you would control the market. Am I correct? It is alleged that Sean Carter might have dropped some little tidbits because, these people know what's going on in the entertainment world. It's alleged. Like I said, that's one of the things that is out there, that maybe Sean Carter dropped dime, or some people in the industry dropped dime on Diddy to eradicate that blueprint, okay, that competition. Another thing I want to bring up, as I just gave you guys the information in regards to the Jeffrey Epstein situation, how many of you guys remember a little known label, Murder Inc.? Irv Gotti. Justice Department went after him. He beat the charges, but how much money did he spend to have to defend himself in doing this? And it was alleged that there was money laundering going on, blah, 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 blah. It's amazing how it seems all of these things are going on under the black record labels. And I'm not trying to defend anybody. That ain't what I'm saying. I want you guys to use your basic logic here. We know, what's his name? The head of Arista, Clive Davis, and all these guys do shisty things, you know, and they cheat their artists and all kinds of, they drop the artists and do all this other stuff, but no charges ever happen. And if they do happen, they're paid off and they go away. Another thing that I have to bring out is under the Bad Boy label, name me a Bad Boy artist that went on to be multimillionaires. Billionaire. There's always some money, but nobody ever really made any money out of that. And in this case, Cassie's incident at the hotel, it is also alleged that the reason why that videotape took so long to come out is because in practice, allegedly, Diddy paid that staff to not release the videotape and whatever. And then it came out, what years later, and we all saw for ourselves the allegations Cassie made, which was almost spot on in her complaint to what we saw in that video. So where there's smoke, there's fire. But again, let's not forget the victims in these cases.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and you know, as far I never heard that angle as far as, you know, Jay-Z may have dropping dime. I'm on
Jay-Z and people in the industry, just things like that. Jay-Z.
I never heard that. I've seen 50 Cent try to bring up Jay-Z and like, why you so quiet? Like, you got some stories to tell as well as far as being complicit with Diddy, but as of this moment, nobody else has been named in that. And yes, the district attorney there in New York, he was asked about the Jeffrey Epstein connection, and he says, well, you know, he wasn't trying to really get into it, but he's like, nah, I'm not going to get into any of that, you know, type of thing, because they were asking about the safety of Diddy in custody. He says, well, that's not my job, but, you know, that's the job once he gets on the other side, is to ensure his safety. He says, as they would with any inmate. Of course, we know he's probably in Rikers Island, so it's like, yeah, right. I don't know, you know. But nevertheless, I just say this. It's not a secret that Diddy has been at the forefront of being accused, rather, of some pretty devastating things, you know. And the DA also said that this is a case of, you know, basically Diddy, if he couldn't get his way, he was going to do whatever he needed to do to get his way, whether it was through coercion, violence. They said, you know, there's a lot of people that were uncomfortable with coming forward. And I've had this conversation with people, and I hate this question. And I'm not saying it's not a valid question, but I personally hate it. Well, why now? I hate that question. And I hate that question simply because if you're not in the shoes of the people who have that story to tell them, first of all, thank God you don't have that story to tell. But if you're not in the shoes of those people of now coming forward to tell their story, then you should really be quiet. Because unless you know what it is to be threatened, your family threatened, drugged and a whole bunch of stuff. And, you know, they said that the guns were there and they were defaced, by the way. It sounds like serial numbers are scrubbed off of them. But it's also said that he had armed security guards. So there's a lot of muscle around Diddy for people not to talk or to be afraid of talking. The other thing people need to realize is, and listen, I'm going to say he's innocent until proven guilty, although we've seen some things like the tape, the CNN, which, you know, why did they release that after all these years? But anyway, the one of him beating down that of Cassie Ventura, you know, I want to say that he's innocent until proven guilty. But, you know, it's not looking good for Diddy. At the end of the day, I'm going to say this. You got to pay for what you do. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you have done. You're going to pay for what you did. I don't care how much money you think you have. There's not enough money to absolve you. So, like, yeah, you may get away from man, but you're not going to get away from God or karma, whatever system you believe in. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, think that they will. And that's what happened with Diddy. Diddy thought all these years, all these people coming forward, talking about them cheating them, doing horrible things to him. He thought, oh, well, even to the day that Cassie and her lawyer came to his doorstep and said, we got you, sucker. He's, well, I'm not going, I'm sure he was very cavalier. He's a megalomaniac, right? That's how he thinks, I'm this big giant superstar and I can do whatever I want, to a point. Because eventually, you're going to get that at that door and you're going to have to answer for it, whether you want to or not. See, there's not enough money for him to get out of what he did. Now, do I believe that there's other people on those tapes? Because they got tapes, okay? Because I was having a conversation about it earlier. I'm like, listen, the feds did not run up in Diddy's house on a whim, on speculation. They ran up in there, and once they got up in there and they got what there was to get, they said, we got enough to bring this man in on charges. So, eventually you're going to have to answer for that. But as far as the connection between him and all the radio, because there's white, the white record labels are the OG of shaking people down. They've been doing it since Cadillac Records actually is a good movie to watch, and it really highlights that. So the white record labels, which is speculated and has been very well documented. I've been following this of Sam Cooke as to why he's not here. That's why there's a documentary on Netflix. The Two Killings of Sam Cooke is one of my favorite documentaries. They call it Two Killings because they said he died by one way, but then they said did he die another way. So I bring up Sam Cooke to say that Sam Cooke was starting a record label. He's like, I want to be black owned. I want to do for my people because I know my people getting, screwed over by these white record labels. And they're speculating that's why he may not be here. In addition to it, I'm going to bring in the mafia, payola, right? The mafia is very connected with payola, where they say, hey, play this record or else, or, they'll offer, payment or something. So I just want to really drive that point that while it's not okay that the black record labels and Young Thug, Jeffrey Williams, he's also on trial for RICO in Georgia. One of the most expensive trials in Georgia history, mind you. But just because the white ones are doing it, the black ones should know better, because your skin, it does not protect you from what's to come. So I would think from what the stuff that they're saying about Diddy, I don't want to say it's worse. It's that we know of, because like I said, the other record companies, they've been doing it to people for years. And guess what? They gonna keep doing it. And guess what? They gonna keep not getting caught. Because you know why? We, unfortunately, don't know how to shut the hell up. We go above and beyond. I'm not saying they don't, but they keep their stuff tightly wrapped up, right? Now, does he have some of those people on video? I would imagine he does. Will they ever get disclosed? Probably not, unless he discloses them. It remains to be seen.
Again, I'm not surprised at this at all, Demetra. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Cat Williams said 2024 is the year of truth. Things will be revealed. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it in real time, how this stuff is going out here. Millions of dollars are missing. I mean, and I'm not defending anybody. But here's what I want you to think about. You worked hard, whatever, R. Kelly, whatever entertainment entity it is or celebrity it is. Do you guys know how much? And I'm glad that you prefaced the show by saying that everybody is innocent until proven guilty. That is a fact. You have to, it's not like you say, Demetra. Demetra loves to say this, you guys. It ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. Simple as that. It's what you can prove. And it takes a lot of, and unfortunately, when you're a black person in this justice system, you're guilty until you can prove your innocence. And you guys a lot of you guys will agree with me. That is pretty much how it is in the justice system in America for black people. You are guilty until you can prove your innocence. And to prove your innocence, you have to have a lot of money. That is why a lot of people in our community, because we lack the funds, we will get with a public defender, and a public defender will plead you out. Well, it's only 3 years. It's only 2 years. How many of you guys seen the movie A Few Good Men? What did Tom Cruise want to do? Hey, yeah, you're going to be dishonorably discharged. You're going to be thrown out, disgraced and stuff. But hey, you'll be free in 2 years. You'll be free in 3 years. But a dishonorable discharge from the military is worse than being a felon. A lot of people don't know that. But Tom Cruise was willing to plead that. And that's what happens to us in the justice system. So this government, be it Republican or Democrat, in my opinion, when they see celebrities of a certain caliber that will not get in line or whatever their situation, or they're getting too much stuff, I don't know what it is Diddy has on those tapes that somebody wants or needs to get. They're going to bleed him out financially. Like you said, they're going to go and take his assets under a RICO charge. Let's talk about Michael Jackson. They wanted those masters that he had and that publishing book so badly, they tied this man up in frivolous lawsuits. And I'm not defending anything because I don't really know the cases, but I'm using my basic logic, Dimitri, and I'm saying this does not make sense because it seems to me it happens to Black artists. And I'm not trying to make this a black and white thing. I'm just saying it just doesn't make sense how all of these judges and these public officials, the problem of the migrant crisis is going to Black mayors. The problem of mayors in the United States, be it Fannie Willis, DAs, and people being charged under crimes, when you don't see that type of pursuit going after other groups and their crimes. Right here in LA, you had a city council member that basically was speaking hate crimes against a fellow member and the Black community, and they refused to step down, and there's no charges to them or all this other stuff. So in the year of truth, I want you guys to remember this. I don't care if you got an R by your name or if you got a D by your name. We all we got. I'm not saying support them and let the chips fall where they lie, but there is a reason they are going after this man right now. There is something that he has, because remember, all through the 90s, they're propping this man up and put him in that position only to be torn down. We saw what we saw, and to do what they're doing. So it's going to be interesting. The year of truth, Cat Williams, brother, you hit it right on the nail. He told what is actually happening.
Yeah, the Cat Williams definitely seems to be a prophet. But I want to also say that they didn't prop him up there. Diddy propped himself up there, thinking he can, as Martin says, stomp with the big dogs. And when I say stomping with the big dogs, you're stomping with people that don't look like you. And I would venture to say he probably learned that behavior from them. I'm sure, he's seen some things. Now, something tells me that Diddy was probably always a horrible person. For whatever reason, I guess you could, but I just don't think that he woke up saying one day, you know what? I'm going to be a terrible person. I'm going to be like, Vlad the Vampire. I'm going to be out here. I think he was probably all, because some people they raised like that, or, they just been that way their whole life. But yeah, he put himself into the position to get what he's got. And even when after R. Kelly was going through what he was going through, it sounds like Diddy was still doing some pretty jacked up stuff. So it's like, at what point did you not look at R. Kelly and say, okay, I've been doing some strange things with my change, and I might want to either get me a passport to Bali or somewhere, you know what I mean? Sit down. So he couldn't do it. But my thing is, I don't know. If I was in Diddy's shoes and I knew I did all those things to people, I would have anticipated those things coming back to me. So when Cassie came, because I believe she was the catalyst of all of this, when she came and she says, oh, boo, I'm going to need $100 million from you. When you wanted the cash, you wanted pennies, check, cashier. That's what I would have said, right? And then it would have went away. She would have signed a non-disclosure agreement and it would have all went away. I'm thinking, maybe not, but he was very cavalier in how he moved with her. So, this is the other thing. you ain't supposed to be in engaging in any and everything. I want to talk about these freak offs for just a second. Now, the freak offs are just what you think they are. They said these parties sometimes lasted for days. And in fact, they said that he would often administer IVs, I don't know, fluids, vitamins, whatever it is, to the party goers and some of the people who didn't want to go to the party, including himself, to rejuvenate themselves after all those days of, the acts and drugging and all that other stuff. That's in the indictment as well. So, when people tell you, "Hey, let's go over here," see, I always tell you, I ain't never been one to be been down to peer pressure at all. I'm like, y'all want to do what? I tell you all the time the story about when they want to go play high and go get. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be doing that with you. I might perpetrate. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bam! I'm in the house with my mama. Later on, the next day, they be like, "Where were you? Is you crazy?" Because I heard some horror stories. See, I was one of those people. I learned early in life. I just didn't like being in trouble. I didn't like whoopings. I didn't like none of that. All my siblings, I think, or my little brother, I was the only one that spanked him. He's like 10 years younger than me. But out of my other siblings, I was the one that got whooped the least. Because I was like, okay, you ain't got to be doing that to me no more. I get it. I learned my lesson. So just because you can don't mean you should. Now, guess what? All those people that were at these freak offs, you know what they're sitting at home today thinking? And they were thinking that when Cassie got to talking, right? When am I going to get that? Or, because like you said, Donovan, I think you made a good point with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. They redacted those names. But are they going to redact the names that was in Diddy's thing? Because more than likely, most of those names that were in Diddy's thing look like us, right? Now, we know the system ain't about protecting Black people. Now, I believe there was some other people, they even said Diddy Jakes was there. A couple of them. Like, why? You a big old pastor. Like, what do you do? But those people are now they probably calling a travel agent. Is Valley a good place to be this time of year? Because, they don't have an extradition process. That's why Russell Simmons is over there, because they was gunning for him too. Now, I don't want to, if he did the stuff, he should answer for it. But if he didn't, whatever, I think he was smart either way to be like, yeah, United States, I'm blowing this joint.
I mean, it's interesting, and I don't think this stuff is going to stop. And I'm just saying, recently, within the last 4 years, I think it is very strange how the Biden-Harris administration has gone after influential Black people in the Black community. It just seems that there's more Black people being indicted under this administration, DOJ, than I've ever seen before in any other administration, DOJ. I'm not saying these people are innocent. That ain't what I'm saying. We're all going for justice, all that other great stuff. But it's amazing to me how this administration could say, "Oh, we're going to tax Cash App and all these other things if you make over $600. You know what I mean? It's just how they're doing things for people who are just trying to live in the United States, and taking out these servants, public servants, and leaders, and all of a sudden, all these migrants come over and flood there's just something to this that it just doesn't make sense to me, where I'm kind of saying, wait a minute. If you knock out all of the servitude in the Black community and replace it with another group, what voice are we going to have in this country? And it's just amazing after the fact. I'm very sure a lot of these victims have been victims for a very long time. In the State Department, they've known all of this stuff. And again, we know when it comes to the federal government, it does take a while before charges, that's why they have a 96% conviction rate on the federal level. I mean, they're up there. I mean, if they're going to come at you, they're going to come at you. So this happened last year with Diddy when they raided his properties and stuff like that. It took a little bit. Yeah. They're not going to indict anybody unless they know they have a case, And here we are today. And there's going to be people that are going to defend Diddy. I don't know why you would defend somebody that you don't even know personally. I don't know why you would do that. It's okay to have an opinion, and that's great. But like I said, I don't know. I'm going to assume he's innocent until proven guilty. I do know this. I saw the tape of Cassie Ventura and him kicking the shit out of her. I do know that. So that kind of influences my thought process that more than likely these allegations might be true, but I don't know. I got a question for you, Dimitri. Do you think that he might do a plea deal if something goes down?
I mean, I just looked to it. It looks like in addition to the 20 years, for some of the RICO charges, he could be doing life. I think if he's smart. Of course, Diddy beat a case once before, with that of Shine. He beat a case before. So I don't know. Maybe he's going to roll the dice. But I think right now, there's just so much evidence out there, including, everybody's seen that video of him beating up Cassie there at the hotel in Los Angeles. So I don't know. If I was him, sure. Okay, you think about the nature of somebody like Diddy. He's a billionaire. He's got access to any and everything that his heart can desire 20 times over, right? But so you think about him having to go to prison. Now, he ain't going to jail. He's going to prison, for a very long time. So somebody like him and his thought process, being a megalomaniac and all of that, who gonna check me? He might plead not guilty and roll the dice with a jury trial. I wouldn't. There's just too many people to come forward. It ain't no telling. It, like you said, if the feds got you, they probably got you. So I don't know. But what does a plea deal even look like? Does he have a no pun intended, a trump card somewhere that says, hey, yeah, y'all can indict me and have me go to trial, but bam, here goes such and such and such and such. Oh, they was there too, like dignitaries or where. I don't know. I don't know. It's just going to be, I think it's going to be one to watch, but I don't think he's going to take a plea. I don't think.
Or if you think about that, you brought up a good point. What if Trump gets in there and he rolls the dice, gives a big donation to, whatever party it is. Next thing you know, he gets pardoned as somebody's walking out the door.
And they're trying him on a federal level, so he could, if he got in there. But to your other point, Diddy was vote or die, big time Democrat. Where they at? Now I'm not saying they should absolve him of, that kind of stuff. I've always known and thought that Diddy was a terrible person for a long time. I didn't need this, Cassie or the indictment or anything to tell me that. If you've been paying attention to all of his artists before, it's like, okay, I could get one or two disgruntled artists, but all of them? Come on. And the part that makes me mad is the people that's defending Diddy. Oh, they just trying to, they are why now, this, that, and the other. Like I said, you ain't never been a victim of that type of crime. You can never ask why now. You afraid for your life. This fool allegedly blowing up cars and all kind of stuff. Yeah, I think I'd be quiet too. And he did that because he's also charged with arson. Now, they didn't say what the arson was, but if you were reading Cassie's, lawsuit, she said that he threatened Kid Cudi because they were, Cassie and him weren't talking, but they were, guess they're going to do something in the studio. And he threatened Kid Cudi, said, if you don't stay away from her, I'm going to blow your car up. And it said a week later or so, the car was blown up in his driveway. So, yeah, you're going to shut your mouth because you don't know what kind of fool this is. You have an idea, but you don't know to what extent he's going to take it. So we're not going to be here long. I'm going to give Donovan the last closing word. I just want to say this, okay? As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, don't laugh, learn. Because there's some people out there that's probably doing something maybe not as bad, but close to it, or thinking about doing it. And the other thing that I really love is there, but for the grace of God, there go I. That means, I'm glad that it ain't me, because it could be you. Think of some of the things that you've done. And I'm not trying to guilt you, but I'm saying if we're thinking this is funny, the baby oil and all that, if we think that stuff is funny, you be careful that there's something like this or something, like it, maybe not to that degree, but whatever it is you've done and nobody else knows that you've done it, but you and the other person or whatever it is, you better hope and pray that it never comes back to visit you. And the other thing is too, Diddy, we know about his transgressions because he is. See, that's the other thing. My little brother always said, along with the fame comes the blame. So you're getting all the fame and all the glory and the accolades, but with that too, Why you out there in the public? The stuff that you do behind closed doors, oh yeah, that's coming to the forefront too. Everybody just like they was dancing with you, as Suge Knight, I think it was, says you're tired of your producer dancing with you in the videos and stuff. Yeah, why you out there dancing in the videos and stuff? Now everybody getting to watch that and again to watch the shame of what you did that is undeniable. And just like Diddy, we all gotta answer to somebody. We all gotta pay the piper eventually. So put good out there into the world instead of bad. Because with all that fame and fortune and talent that Diddy had, he could have chosen to be a good person, to actually help the people that trusted and believed in him. He could have helped further their career. He could have helped them tremendously, and he could have been wealthier 1,000 times over. But he chose to be now I won't call him the devil. That's a step too far because we know who that is. But he chose to be a demon, and look what he got for it in return.
All money ain't good money, and it just seems like it's kind of prevalent when it comes to this record industry. And I'm not down in the record because I love music. Everybody knows I have a lot of digital albums and stuff like that, over 2,000 digital albums, full albums. I love the music industry, but I also noticed in the 90s when you had LaFace Records, you had Perspective, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you had Bad Boy, you had all these black label prints. Where are they today? Where are these label prints today? Yeah, I get it. Sometimes you just want to fold the label, take your money and go, and that's great. But whenever I think of this thing that goes on in the record industry, I think of Guy and Teddy Riley. I want you guys to think about Teddy Riley for a minute. Guy breaks up, and of course they get back together, whatever, off and on, but they're not like an official stable group. Then Teddy says, oh, it was Gene Griffith and all this other stuff, however the story was with that. Then Teddy forms a group called Blackstreet. Look at the stuff, the turmoil that goes on in this thing. So I think that is something prevalent in the industry that does that. But when I listen to Teddy in interviews, it's never him. The problem is never with him, but you're the producer, you're the writer, you own the publishing, it all these things. And I'm just like, wow. And all these great groups break up and, and it's all over money and things of that. And like I said, Guy would have gone on to be a super group. How many albums did they release? Only two. Look at the group's total. How many albums did they release? Only two. 112. These are all under the Bad Boy moniker. How many albums did they release? 112, I think, released 5 albums. But are they millionaire and billionaires? No. Craig Mack, under the Bad Boy label, how many albums did he release? Only 2. I mean, we can just go down and down and down, the line. So, innocent until proven guilty. Some of the tainted evidence to taint the jury pool has already been put out there in the video of him beating the crap out of Cassie. But what the energy that you put out there, it definitely does come back. Dimitri, I'm going to say this. I have never, ever got an ass whipping from my parents that I didn't earn. And I know that. And that's one of the things that my mom feared about me as a young man, because I was willing to take the ass whipping. If my mom said being at 10 o'clock, it's 10:01, my mindset, well, I might as well stay out as long as I can because the ass whipping ain't going to be any different from 10:01 until 2 in the morning or whatever it was. And you're absolutely right. To walk around here and think that whatever karma you put out there is not going to come back on you. Whenever things aren't going in my steed the way I want them to, the first thing comes to my mind is, yeah, I probably did that thing and it's just coming back on me right now. So I just got to get through this to the best of my ability and just deal with it. But big ups to Cat Williams. He said this was the year of truth and people are being exposed and things are being exposed. How we think as a people, how we vote as a people, who we listen to as a people, all of this stuff is being exposed. And here we are today. So again, the diddler, RICO charges. My main question under these RICO charges, as the governing prosecuting attorney said, he could not do this by himself. Diddy went to Howard University. So he's an educated man. I agree. Under RICO, you can't do it by yourself. But I do know there's an illiterate man sitting in a jail in Chicago that was tried under RICO, and nobody else was charged with them. I got questions.
Yeah, so in closing, everybody's got to pay the piper. Just make sure that what he's demanding of you is not going to cost you everything, because it could. You know what I mean? And like I said, I feel sorry for Diddy, and I'm going to preface this by saying it's not that, oh, poor Diddy, feel sorry for him that he didn't correct his ways when he had a chance to do it. Unfortunately, sometimes when people get resources like a lot of money, they think that's a pass to just do whatever they want to people. And this is probably another conversation, but I question his mom. Who Diddy, I think if you know anything about Diddy, he loves his mom dearly. She's like everything to him. And he's got daughters, he's got sons. He's just got a lot of people now that are unfortunately probably going to live without him for the rest of his life. And he didn't even care enough about them to right the error of his ways. And so again, don't laugh, learn. So anyway, in the meantime, you all have a great rest of your afternoon. I will be back here at 5. I think Donovan may. I know he's got some other stuff to do, but if you don't, it'll be me here to join you. I'm going to watch this press conference that's going to come on in a couple of minutes with that of the National Association of Black Journalists. They're going to be interviewing I'm about to say Kamala Harris, as she did not show up because she had other things to do, from what I understand, when Donald Trump showed up during their conference. So anyway, you guys be blessed. We'll see you all in a few. Peace.